So the other aspect of it, and wonderfully, our Twitch comment that I've just got is exactly what I was about to segue into, which is about the fact that the sex as a prize, that so often in games it is used that as a reward you get a woman as a sex object, as a prize, etc. How do we feel about that? Any examples? Anything you wanted to put across about that? The Witcher being actually quite a bad example for that as well.
Yeah. So, early, the first Witcher game, you got like a playing card with a beautiful sketch of the naked woman that you just conquered by either saving her life or doing her a favour. And in the God of War games, for I think the 9 prequel games, there was a sex mini game. Where you have to, it's like a quick time event where you press square, then you jiggle the analog stick, and then you press them both at the same time, and on and on and on and on. I don't know much about those ones. But yeah, so, and then at the end you get a load of red orbs. So it's for a gameplay reason as well. So yeah, so again, that's another one of those things that it seems it's playful and it's fun and it's not a big deal. But then you think about how... Take a step back and think about what it means that this has been included in a game. It doesn't just exist. It was created by someone. It was approved by someone. It was designed by someone and then shipped out into the world. And it's that pipeline that is the problem. Things need to change along that pipeline in order for things to change.
Yeah, I mean, Alex or Jem, I don't know if either of you ever played Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, only the most recent one, number 5.
Fair enough. I mean, because GTA 3, back when that was out, was, again, when I was a stupid young teenager. So to me, it was, I wouldn't say amusing, but it was just part of the game that, you know, you would get a hooker and then kill them afterwards to get your money back. And that was just like, and it was considered almost a standard way of playing in the game. And again, it's a sign of how desensitized and systematically you just go, oh yeah, that's just what you do. Oh, isn't that funny? And just like, as you say, Matt, you think for a second, hang on, somebody's actually thought about that and has actually designed it.
And it's always, so so this is, it's all aimed mainly at straight men and straight boys. But you will definitely find, particularly the further back you go, that 99% of all that work designed to turn on horny young men is done by horny old men.
Yes. Which is even creepier when you think about it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, in fact, I might just bring up the horrible example that you found, Matt. And I am going to put a content warning now, right? Because this is just creepy AF. I'm sorry, I hate it. But Matt had found this game, mobile phone game. Where's it gone? Have I just managed to remove it because it upset me so much? which was Kiss of War. Ew. In which, so Matt, is there a plot to this game?
I don't know. I haven't played it. I've just, for some reason, which doesn't reflect very well on me, it keeps on coming up in my studying, in my ad like recommendations, and I keep on going, oh, I'll use this. I can screenshot this for the podcast, and then it sends me another one.
I want to show you a very quick bit of the trailer until I'm sickened by it. See, what the trailer doesn't show is the bit that's in the image, which is of this, which is rescue her and be her hero. It's a woman tied up in war, and you can go and rescue her and be her hero.
And she's got blood down the side of her mouth because she's been beaten up. Yeah,
it's just the fact that people design these are horrible. So I suppose that, what we were almost flirting around earlier was the fact is, like, what are the dangerous implications of this? Why does this matter? Why? And I suppose, you know, because we are all feminists, you know, we're sitting there going, yeah, obviously we see the link between this and violence against women and girls. But it's like, for, you know, why does it matter to you? Why do you think, what if you could explain, if you could get the horrible, annoyingest little Rust-playing, reeing 14-year-old boy in front of you and explain to him why this matters and actually get him to listen, what would you say? What is the most important thing?
Well, shall I go just because that I sent in those images and just talk
Yes.
so I can explain I can explain why I sent those in, not just some voyeuristic wanting to show everyone. So that video that I sent, that was one of 6 adverts that I saw that was sent to me by the ad thing. And that was the tamest of all of them. That one's just some jiggling and some sexy, over-sexualized women. That's one thing where you can go, ha ha, funny, and then laugh it off. But then you look at what that image represents, which is a woman tied up, looking scared, with blood down the side of her mouth, going, she's been hurt, and she's desperate for you to save her, and implying that if you save her, then you'll get something sexual in return.
And I've got this one as well for you, Matt.
Yeah. So again, she's a poor whelp who has no power and needs you to save her, implying that you'll get something sexual from her. The other adverts are where it takes a very dark turn, because there are some of them where you choose your soldier from a row of women who are hung up by their arms, hanging in like a Gestapo torture chamber. And you swipe them along, you spin them around to take a good look, and then you pick one. And that is real. There's such a deep darkness to that if you really sit back for a second and go into what that means, what that's telling people who haven't, so like you were saying, you don't notice it. I didn't notice stuff like this when I was younger because it was just part of how things were. It's just how things were. And now when you look at things like that, some of it is just harmless fun, but things like that is the stuff that needs to change, because that is the stuff that is dangerous. That is what is training the minds of particularly young men to view women as commodities that are something, as the fantastic comment said earlier, women are objects to be won, to be owned, to be commodified. And that is spread across all media and is a profoundly dangerous pillar of the patriarchy.
Alex, why does hypersexualization of women in games worry you?
I would agree with what Matt said. I think the danger is that it normalizes it. And if you've been in gaming since you were young, it kind of makes it normal from a very young age, which is even more dangerous because, it then becomes ingrained in your thinking that it's okay, or somehow that it's not telling the full story because it's just brushing over it and saying, well, it's a fun game that you're playing. You don't need to worry about it. I think the danger is that it's especially nowadays with kids, it's more of a constant than it was when we were younger, I would say. I think it's more common now, I think, maybe for kids to be gamers than it was perhaps when we were younger. I don't know if it's because we were in our gaming bubble, it just felt like a normal thing to do. I just think it just normalizes it, and that's not appropriate because it just needs to be talked about on a wider stage and explained as to why this is wrong. Is because it's making it into a commodity and making it okay for women to be sort of used and almost sold and things, like how they were strung up and stuff. It's just not at all a good thing.
Because one of the things that worries me as well is that, because obviously conventions and cosplay is so popular, but if your only option is to dress up as the obvious examples there, then it's like, Jem, I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that it's more of an issue these days because graphics have got so good, and so what we're not dealing with little pixelated damsels in distress now. We're dealing with almost movie quality, you know, almost live action quality.
Yeah, that picture of the old Final Fantasy to the new one.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think that almost illustrates the issue there as like, yeah, she's wearing exactly the same thing. But...
yeah,
sorry,
and I think absolutely it does, and I think that the problem is that these games can come straight into your phone, you know, and you know, I think a lot of those ones that you were just talking about were mobile games. So, you know, these are things that young people are very easily able to access. They're not having to go out and spend £60-70 on them. You know, they're throwaway games. I remember a few years ago hearing about research done into the impact of comedy on sexism and you know, sexist jokes, and were they just a joke, and is it just, you know, mean old feminists ruining everyone's fun? But actually what they were saying is that, you know, comedy is a very powerful tool for changing opinion and for influencing opinion, and making something just a joke is you know, a very good way of changing an opinion, changing a view, insinuating things into conversation. I don't know if the same research has been done into games, but I'm willing to guess that there's another similar thing going on there, because it's that subtle. It's okay. It's just a game. It's okay.
It's interesting because so much of the research into games has always been focused on violence, not violence against women and girls, which, of course, as we know, is a different thing. It's always been, does video games cause violence? Do video games make you go and shoot up your high school? All that sort of stuff. Most of which the evidence says no, they don't.
Doesn't.
There is, but it's that societal way you treat people, the society way you think of people, and I think stand-up comedy was a great example actually to bring up, because you look at stand-up comedy even 10 years ago, people like Frankie Boyle, David Mitchell, even I'd say David Baddiel as well. A lot of them used to make jokes that were Matt Lucas being a very good example as well, used to make jokes that they, at the time 10 years ago, would say as, you know, bloody feminists ruining our fun, won't let us make our jokes anymore. There has been a massive shift in comedy, and I've seen a lot of interview with those particular comedians saying, actually, I regret a bit the jokes I used to make, and I wouldn't make those jokes now. And now I've thought about it and reflected on it. Richard Herring's another one as well. It's massively changed. So I could do a whole podcast about stand-up comedy now. But I think it's about that. How do we shift that? And I think one of the nice things about doing this podcast is that there's been a lot of people who said there is very few people talking about feminism in gaming. They're talking about the lack of feminism in gaming, but not talking about actually doing feminism in gaming. And because a lot of people feel very scared. A lot of people keep saying to me, you stream that on Twitch, you're going to get abusive comments all day. We've had one Twitch comment and it was lovely and supportive. And I think that shows that there is some space to be taken up, you see. I also very much just wanted to find an opportunity to bring in Daniel's comment about mensels in distress, because that amused me. And also, as Anya points out, you know, Fable 2, Fat Bald Man Hero, it's not always over-sexualised. So, go on, I feel we've got gloomy and dark now. I want positive.